Hello, Sarah. This is Rich. I'm going to make you a real quick video. I'm sorry this is so late. I didn't really get to it till about 10 minutes ago. So it's about almost 5 o'clock now. So I'm going to answer your questions one at a time. So I'm assuming that you had to find z-scores from all of these numbers. So I'm going to pull up an Excel. So I'm assuming you had to find your own mean and standard deviation. So we're going to go to the function bar. We're going to go to statistical. And we want the average of this data. So there's our mean. Let's repeat it for standard deviation. We're going to click the cell, go to the function bar. We're going to scroll down to Saint Dev, and we're just going to pretend it's a population and click OK, and we're going to highlight our data. Click OK, so there's our standard deviation. All right, so this is the mean and the standard, that's the mean, that's the standard deviation from the sample. So to find a z-score, you're going to do this. Hold on. All right, so what I did was I pasted the mean in this column, the standard deviation here. So the z-scores, you're going to go up to the function bar, you're going to type equal, you're going to type the individual data minus the mean, parentheses, so that difference is going to be divided by the standard deviation, which is this number. You're going to hit enter, and that's going to be your z-scores. So you're going to control C, you're going to paste everything in there, bam, there's your z-scores. All right, question 2, one sample t-test. I put the data in the SPSS. I'm going to go to analyze, compare means, one sample t-test. Only got one variable. The test value is 50. Okay, so that's the norm. You got to compare it against 50. I don't think there's any options. Nah, no options. Boom. So you made a mistake on yours. You tested the value against 0. So what it did was it ran a t-test between 50.29 and 0, and you got this gigantic t-test statistic of 74 point something. But this is what you should have got. Here, let me paste this into your paper and I'll explain to you what it means. Okay, so I'm looking right at the two-tailed significance right there. This is not less than 0.05, therefore there is no significant difference between the data that you have here and the norm mean of 50. So that's where you made your mistake here. The test value should have been 50, not 0. So there is no significant difference there. All right, this looks like a pre and post test. That's going to make it a paired t-test. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in SPSS. So please hold. All right, so here's we named one before, one after, and there's your data set. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the decimals. I have this weird thing. I do not like decimals unless you're being measured. Okay, so we got our data in there. So now we're going to do a paired t-test. The difference between a paired t-test and an independent t-test is, for the paired t-test, each measurement has to be its own variable. In other words, it needs its own column in SPSS. So we're going to go to Analyze, Compare Means, Paired Sample t-test. Okay, our first sample is going to be our before and after. And let's see what the options are. Don't care. I think that's all we need. Click OK. So this is going to be your output for your paired t-test. Hold on. All right, next question. This is an independent t-test or two-way t-test or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to run this in SPSS. You can also do this in Excel, but we're going to do this in SPSS. Okay, to run an independent t-test in SPSS, you need a grouping variable. That's what we're going to name company. So if we look at this, company, so 1 means company A, 2 means company B. You see that? We have to go back to SPSS. We're going to value them. And so the number 1 means company A, add. Number 2 means company B, add. OK. And we have to change the scale of the variable. It's categorical to nominal. And the other one is just whatever the score is scale. So we're all set to go. So now we're going to run the 2 sample or independent t-test. Compare means, independent samples t-test. Come on, you rotten thing. And so our DV is scores. Our IV is anything that puts them in separate groups. That's our company. And we have to define the groups. So we just have two groups, 1 and 2. Continue. Don't worry about options. Okay. And this is going to be our output. So I'm going to cut and paste it on your other page. Please hold. Okay, last question. So you did an analysis of variance, and so they need to know, and they gave you the output boxes. So number 1, is there statistically significant main effective age group? So age group, just by itself, yes, there was a significant difference there. Bam. So that one is correct. Number 2, is there a statistically significant main effective gender? So gender, not quite, right? If this significant was less than 0.05, then you get to say, yeah, there was a significant difference. Always remember this. Small p-values are bad news for the null. I'll say it again. Small p-values, anything less than 0.05, allows you to reject the null, okay? So that's not quite small enough. So there was no significant main effective gender. Would you get that correct? The last one is, was there a significant interaction between age and gender? So you look at the significant interaction, and yes, there was, because this number right here is less than 0.05, so you have a significant interaction somewhere. So you got this one right, but I don't know what this means. Yes for 0.05. That part's confusing me. But there was so there was an interaction. There was significant interaction. What that means is you're not supposed to look at the main effects of age or gender, okay? Because there's something going on between one level of one IV and one level of the other IV. So let's answer your last question. So given these results, which of the following is true? So the F of 1 and 160, that doesn't look correct to me. I'm going to go back up to this. So 1 and 160 was 3.256. Right, so that's this one. And we know the P was greater than 0.05, not less than 0.05. So that one's not correct. So the next one is 3 and 10.127. So that's this one. And again, that P should have been less than less than 0.05. You got it greater than 0.05. This is the one that's right. You got 2.82, and that's this bad boy, and the significance is less than 0.05, so this one's right. So what is an interaction? And I don't know why I'm losing the space here. So what is an interaction? The interplay of two different actions. That is not correct. The relationship between the main effect and secondary effect. That, unfortunately, that is not correct. It's tricky. This could have been correct under the right circumstances, but I think the best answer is this one. So you're talking about a factorial design. All that means is you have at least two IVs, and one level of one IV is interacting with at least one level of the other IV in such a manner that the scores, it's almost acting like a new IV. So that's the interaction. So I'm thinking this one would probably be the best answer. So the last one, describe the results of SPSS output in question 6 of APA style. Let me write that up for you real quick. Okay, so there was no significant difference between gender. So this is how you write it up in APA formatting. So you identify a 4 by 2 factorial ANOVA was used to assess the main effect of gender in age groups. The results indicated that there was no statistical significant difference between genders, that's male and female, but you also have to put in the mean and the standard deviation of each group. So that's the APA part. In your DV, that's your factor score. So you have to write out what test you did. That's an F. Which alpha value you used as a cutoff. That was 0.05. That's your degrees of freedom. So 1, 160. And there's your actual F test statistic, 3.26. And the p-value, since it was not significant, you write out exactly what it was. And APA formatting requires only 2 decimal places. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and send you the video link and the paper here. Good luck. I'm sorry it was too late, but stay cool, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. MGZ and Copilot out.